dramatic 1-1 sweep. Haiden Deegan takes round 1 of the playoffs. Jett Lawrence is number 1 on the bike coming in, and he's number 1 at playoff number 1.
You know what time it is, guys. It's time for Title 24, presented by NBC Sports. I'm RC. That's RV, as you guys know. Thanks for tuning in today, whether you're viewing or listening. Before we get going, you got to thank our great partners, like always, United Motorsports, Quadlock Case, Boxo, and Dunlop. You guys are fantastic. And RV, I am ready to get into it. Fantastic opening round of SMX, no doubt. I think it's going to be exciting, obviously, with the double points coming up this weekend in Fort Worth, and of course triple points in Vegas. It's definitely going to be exciting, and no more mulligans, if you will. But it was fun. I thought the track was good. What was your take, your big takeaway before we get into the nuts and bolts of it?
Well, I think that, yes, we had a great Charlotte SMX first round, but as coming in, as we all saw, I think this 3-race series brings a little bit of a little bit different mentality, a little bit different pressure situation. You know, we saw Jason Anderson go down in practice. We saw Justin Barcia also go down, didn't make it. We also saw the first turn practice start, you know, debacle and crash, took down AP. Here we're watching. We got Mookie, we got Cooper Webb chopping him off a little bit. Mook stands it up on the front wheel, takes down AP. Anderson himself. You know, to me, that's not normal, right? Like, we don't typically see it. Now we're watching Anderson in the sand, goes down really hard, belly flops it down. He's out for the weekend. You know, here's their third guy here. We have Justin Barcia just going off, catching the tough blocks and just body slamming into that next 3-footer. You know, I don't know exactly what that's from, other than I think just the anticipation, you know, trying to learn the track very quickly. It seems to be like a little higher pressure situation than you know, outdoors, obviously, and then even Supercross, because we only have 3 rounds and because of the compounding points. I think it puts guys under the gun.
Yeah, 100%. It was definitely like that practice start, going back to that first little clip that we watched there. It's definitely interesting just in a practice start. And I know they want to get as realistic as they possibly can, but if I'm these guys and I don't have a clear shot, or I'm not in the lead, I'm completely rolling out, just to try to avoid and be extra careful of anything or something like this possibly going down. I actually flew home with Coop, and he's like, that angle really didn't do me any favors. So maybe it wasn't quite as close as what it looked like. But if you watch it, if you look at Malcolm's front wheel, it damn sure looked like we were watching right here.
He was putting that front brake under some pressure right there. He's nose wheeling, and he saves it right into the side of AP, but takes them all down, domino effect. It's like you said, it is odd. It's a practice start, and if you don't have a clear space, obviously it's just for practice. But that isn't very typical for the 450 class.
No, dude, it's not. And then I hate it for El Hombre. That sucks. That was a tough lick in the sand, and then like kind of scorpion, and I don't know, like goes sideways in the front end, just dug in. I thought he was going to be hurt a lot worse than what he was. So I guess he's going to try to come back. So Jay, hope you get better. And then of course I hated it for Barcia too, because, you know, I mean, dude, could you imagine going through all that rehab and then, you know, not even making it to race day? Just simple mistake. I mean, just from looking at that angle, and I haven't talked to JB yet, but I'm assuming he got a little off balance, clips a tough block, and it's game over at that stage. Ugh.
Yep. Very similar to RJ, and we'll get to that down here probably a little closer, a little more in the
we will, bro. You know we will. How was your before we get into the United Motorsports moment of the week, how was the reunion in Utah? Was it good?
It was good. Yeah, it was really good. We had about 30 of us, you know, my family, and just my entire family, actually. We rented 2 big houses. We spent 5 days up in just outside St. George, Utah. Got some good pool time. It was hot. We got to hike Zion. a little bit. So we had a great time. So that's where I've been the last 5 days, and now it's just kind of recovering. Got the kids off to school this morning, and
right.
yeah, laying low.
It was a joke, so everyone tuned in today to Title 24. So my internet's been out since Friday, so I'm doing the hotspot through my phone and to my laptop here, and it's doing pretty good. You got your internet's giving problems, so everyone have some patience with us. If I'm kind of crapping out and RV is getting a little sketchy now and then, we apologize. But yeah, so I was supposed to be with CenturyLink here on the East Coast, and then they subbed my service out to an entity called Quantum Fiber. And yeah, like, dude, they were killing it like overachievers, right? And then I don't know what's happened in the last 3 weeks, but now like it seems like their service department has exponentially went downhill. So yeah, I've been on with the service team for probably an hour and a half this morning. They were supposed to have it fixed. In fact, I got text notifications that they're like, yeah, your technician is on site. And then like 10 minutes later says, thank you. Your technician has completed service. Let us know how everything's working. I'm like, there hasn't been anyone here, dude, working on my stuff. And they're like, wait, what? So anyhow, so everybody have some patience with us, busting into it. I can't wait to get your insight on this, but the United Motorsports moment of the week is definitely, in my opinion, the Jett Lawrence Eli Tomac battle royale. Dude, it was a killer battle, especially that second moto, just going neck and neck. I thought the cream rises to the top. I hate that analogy, but yeah, it really was a lot of fun to watch. Although there wasn't a lot of back and forth, it was just, you could just tell how intense that battling was. And was it a surprise? And what were your takeaways from these two guys?
Well, I think obviously number one for me is both coming back from I think this exact same injury, thumb injury. Watching Moto 1, Jett was feeling it out. Just taking his time is what I thought. Eli was on rails, speed, intensity. They both was really, really good. Chase running a distant third. To me, he was the surprise for me. I read that he, was missed the setting. You can't afford to miss the setting. Not with these guys up front. Not with Jett. Not with Eli. But then going to Moto 2, I felt like that Jett was like, okay, I'm good. I figured out, the bike's good. My thumb's good. I like the track type thing. And he really started to pour it on. So, between those two, they both rode phenomenal. Eli, I feel like is probably probably the best we've seen him in a long time. It's going to be interesting to see, coming up for Dallas here this coming weekend, what he brings to the table, if he can bridge that gap. Because what I saw that second moto, and that's only his second gate drop, they got to stop the train again. I've said that before on the show. Like, if you let Jett do Jett things, it's going to be hard to beat him.
Yeah, 100%. I was surprised. I shouldn't say I was surprised, but I was impressed by just kind of what looked to me as like a game plan or a race plan, if you will, and how he kind of eased into it. You could tell he was a little reserved early on in Moto 1, and then as you got about halfway through, starts to pour it on, just exactly what you said. Got comfortable, boom, starts moving up the track, gets himself in the position to where he got a second. Second is just as good as a first in that first moto. And then coming out probably a little bit more comfortable that second moto, and just has an epic battle, just two strong legendary against a legendary competitor in Eli Tomac, which Dylan Adonisio asks, what is the mental process of returning from an injury? And Dylan, I think you saw a great mental process and how things should work. Like if you're going to write a script, this is what you want to do, is you want to come out there because you just have to expect there's going to be some cobwebs and work into it, just like Jett did and like RV talked about. I think he played it perfectly. You know, don't go out there and override, let the race come to you, you know, get that race intensity back naturally and not force anything. It's, you know, these races are long. So you have time to kind of let the bike and everything settle in and things come back to you, muscle memory and things of that nature. I think for Dylan, to answer your question, I think that Jett Lawrence, from a mental standpoint, played that perfect.
Yep. Yeah. And from a, like you said, from a planning standpoint, if you can plan anything, that to me is everything went, he executed everything that they put down on paper. First moto, get yourself in a position to win, which was second, feel it out. It is also a new bike that Jett has not raced on. Yes, he's rode on it, but there's a lot of things that come up when you're racing that you may never feel or see or have to deal with during the week. So I think that first moto is kind of what we saw. You know, they were both very quick on the track. I personally thought the Jett had everybody covered in the entry of the sand turn. Actually coming up right here, Jett was able to really crush the sand right there. Look at the distance and the gap that he closed in on Eli. So I didn't think it was everywhere on the track. I thought Eli was very strong most places on the track, but there was a few key spots where Jett had, and even Eli was pulling the quad most of the time.
I talked to a couple people, couple of the team managers, and I was asking about that rhythm section, and I was pretty vocal about it on the broadcast of how I didn't think that Jett's line was the fastest line. And Stu brought up some good points about, well, maybe the G out factor and the landings and how that might play a part. And was it affecting Jett's thumb? So it was interesting to see that. But after the race, a couple of the people that I talked to, they were saying how actually that the line that Jett was taking, if you got it right, and you were able to downside those tabletops just right and not clip them, that it was almost as fast as what Eli was doing, going on, off, and then, you know, quadding it. I call it triple, but quadding it. So that was interesting. So I kind of got that wrong on the broadcast again, but I didn't have that type of information. And, you know, dude, one little clip could make the rhythm lane faster or slower, but nevertheless, it was fun to watch those guys. Aaron F., was this the official passing of the torch from Eli to Jett? I'll give you the first crack at it.
I mean, look, I think that's kind of been in the workings the last 12 months. You know, especially Eli coming off with his Achilles and then, you know, dealing with another little injury with his thumb. It's not an ideal situation when we know that he's probably only racing, you know, another year. We know we have him signed up for another year, so that's great. But I think it is. I think it is the passing of the torch. I'm not saying Eli's not. Look, he got a moto win in race one, but you know, I do think it's going to be tough to manage a 17 race Supercross series, an 11 race outdoor series plus 3 SMX rounds against a guy like Jett. You know, age difference is a big deal. Obviously, mentality is completely different. They're in completely different headspaces. Eli's got kids, so I believe it is the passing of the torch. But that being said, I think Eli currently, where he sits right now, and what I saw after Moto 1 and Moto 2, has got a phenomenal shot at bringing this SMX championship down to the wire.
I do too. 01 chap, who impressed you guys the most versus who did you expect more from? Ooh, I like this one. So I'm gonna put you on the hot seat after I tell you who impressed me. I love, from a race strategy standpoint, I loved what Jett brought to the table. He didn't override. I thought his biggest challenge was not getting caught in the game, right? And overriding and then tossing it. That's what I was fearful of him doing. And I love the composure that he showed. You know, the guy's fast and talented and what he's capable of. But again, just managing those expectations. and he did that times 20. So great job, Jett. Mad props to you, brother. And then Eli, I loved what I saw from Eli. Bold move, smart move on the scoop. If you didn't, dude, like he ran the scoop. No one else ran the scoop. Worked out well. I'm surprised it worked as well based on how, we talk about side grip and hard pack conditions. It was pretty hard pack in a lot of areas. So, but it worked out for Eli. I'm surprised no one else opted to go that direction. But I was really impressed with Eli and his intensity that he brought. Again, it's not surprising. Another thing, I think that his bike looked really good. I thought that it wasn't doing anything crazy. I thought it looked very comfortable, and I was impressed with this guy. Not surprised, but this is one of those. This is Eli Tomac at his best. So versus those two guys, did you expect anything more from anyone else, RV?
I mean, I expected Chase to be closer to those two, or up front, right? And I think I can't sit on this side of the table and speculate why he wasn't. Like I said earlier, I read that he missed the mark on the setup. So yeah, I would say for me, it was Chase that I was that underperformed. I was expecting him to be better. He needed to be better, especially against those two guys.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So he kind of brushed it off, like on his podium interview, and he talked about how, hey, like really it really means a lot more with double points and triple points, but.
Does
at the end of the day, I'm not sure that I understand what he's saying. Like if you're gonna have a weekend that you're off, you definitely the first round is where you want to be off. But at the same time, and RV, I think I could speak for you in this is like I'm not trying to let my two main competitors get the best of me, because now you're just giving these guys confidence. And it's just why open a door if you don't need to? And I
think I hate to even say this. I know we talk about it a lot with Chase, but it's not more times than not. But there is a lot of times where we sit on this side of the table and we can either speculate or we can talk about performance that was subpar against those two guys. You can't afford to have subpar performances. Bike setting being missed. You not being 100% on, whatever the case may be, especially in a 3-race series, right? And in this 3-race series, and I know the points are compounding. If you're going to use a throwaway race, it is round one. But that's something he needs to mitigate is these weekends that he's not 100% on.
I agree. Yes. So now, like looking into this weekend, it'd be interesting. I'm like, okay, well, what do you do? I think we all just, instead of speculating, we have to sit back and watch and see if he can react. I mean, he has to, in my mind, right? So now we just sit here and wait. I'm with you, but I was thinking about, okay, what if I was in his shoes and I was racing you or Stu or MC back in the day? I'd be like, dude, no, even though it was just regular points, there's no shot I'm opening the door. No way. I'm doing everything I can to send a message and just set the tone for the playoffs.
Totally. I totally agree. And look, and for the fans that are listening, I know we sound like a broken record with this situation here, but we're only watching what you guys are watching. And from a racer standpoint, that was at that high level. You just can't give up, that position to these two top riders, Eli and Jett. It's just, you can't do it. And how do you fix it? I don't know. I've already done it. I fixed my problems. That's why I'm sitting here. And Ricky, you're sitting there.
That's right.
We just see that needs to improve, and how, that's up to his team to figure that out.
It is. If you haven't, go over unitedmotorsports.com, check them out. And enter. Remember, you can enter to win a $50 gift card, and they're doing a sweepstakes at the end of the SMX. So go over to unitedmotorsports.com/title24, sign up. You get a $15 credit on that initial sign up. Thanks, United Motorsports, and give Big Ray a jingle if you want. They got like 9 locations in the Kentucky, Ohio area. So if you're around that area, pop in. Boxo breakdown, and I'm really excited about this segment, RV, for a couple reasons. Number one, to hear what you had to say. But when you talk about clinics, this guy Haiden Deegan put it on him this weekend, just straight up.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I mean, what do you say other than he just kicked everyone's, six?
He totally did. I mean, his intensity, his line choices, the way he's able to ride the motorcycle. I just think right now he's on another level than these guys, and he knows it. That's kind of the biggest thing, right? Like, I think that brings him to every weekend with that little bit of a cocky, like, hey, and he knows that he owns these guys right now. And I think that is so hard to beat when you have a guy that's that good, number one, and he also knows it, and he was able to put the first moto. He didn't get a great start, and he rode through the pack on a track that was fairly hard to pass on. He was the only one in the 250 class jumping the quad or the triple in that middle rhythm section.
Yeah.
After
he
this,
made it look so easy, dude.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. And then after here, that was the pass for the lead, past JuJu, and he's got a really, really awesome line coming there. He uses the wall a little bit and opens the turn up. He was just very fluid, but he was able to ride the track super hard too. So that is a testament to the testing, to the training, to where that motorcycle's at too. Because if you don't feel that comfortable, even though you can ride the motorcycle fast, there's a bit of a difference in where you can really just push that motorcycle to its all out limit. And I think that's what we saw. Haiden was just on another level.
Yeah, he was. And one thing too, I don't think that we talk about it very often because maybe it's an oversight, but it was hot. And we talked about this a little bit actually in the Pro Motocross series, RV, but that dude's fitness is, like it's pretty remarkable. Look at little point over right there. I missed that on the broadcast. Wow.
Yeah, so did I. Well, it looked like Levi blew the double before out of the turn and had to roll, and then he was able to double the second double there. But that made it for the pass to be taken and easily overtaken by Deegan for the lead.
We got a killer soundbite. Do not roll it yet, Aaron. But I want to give a massive shout out, and I want to get your opinion on this and what you think about it. So you go back to last year, RV, when Deegs had that great performance at Washougal, and I feel like that's where he kind of elevated his game in the professional, ranks and took that next step, right? Made that next plateau.
Yeah.
And kind of like Hymas did this year, right? In the Pro Motocross Championship, I think that he took his professional level to the next step. I feel like if Beaumer can have another performance like he did this next weekend, he will validate the kind of the same progression or step in his level of racing at the top level. Do you agree with that?
I do. He had two phenomenal starts, and he also had great speed. Put himself in a great position, which is always what we all try to do. Leaving the line, right, is put yourself as far as up front as you can. But he had good speed too, and he said on the podium, he's like, basically, he's been expecting himself to be up here, and Saturday went the way he wanted it to go, and felt good, and rode well, and got two good starts too. So I think with the confidence builder that with all the confidence that he built at Charlotte going into Texas Motor Speedway, if he can put himself up in that top three off the gate there, off the start in the first turn, I think he is going to emerge also. Coming into, finishing out SMX, also obviously Supercross coming up around the corner. I think he's going to elevate, like you said, to that next level that he's kind of been missing. He's got speed, but he needs to put the puzzle together.
Yeah, totally. I think so. So it'll be fun to watch. Great job, JuJu. That's what we do here on Title 24 is we give you mad props when you make it happen. And that's cool to see, man. It's good for you. I know you've wanted to do better, like you said, in the podium. So great. You did well. S Reets 711. Do you think that Deegan, and I saw this on the broadcast, I'm like, God, no big deal. Do you think Deegan gained an advantage when he went off the track in the sand?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was short lived. It was very, and look, there's not a lot of room, as we saw from the overhead shots, the drone shots. There's not a lot of room. It is concrete on the sides there too, so you're not. It's not like outdoors where we were talking about, on gas and coming back on the track. Being that there's rhythm sections and there was lots of K rails from the 4-bank drag strip and things like that. So this particular one, no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either. And literally he was like off track for what, 5 to 10 feet. And it, like, I don't, it was nothing that, and it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the race too. So yeah. Hey, dude, I think Joe did awesome. 4 weeks off of a broken collarbone, and to come out there on a fast track, those gnarly like single jumps where the front end slaps down when you land, that had to be brutal. The roost also, I gotta give it up to that dude. Like that was a warrior type performance. I was pumped for the guy.
Yep, he rode well. We've been talking about it a lot this season. The ups and the downs that Joe's had actually for the last 2 years. Like he'll come out and he'll put great performances together, and we're like, okay, that's the Joe that we know, or that we've been waiting for. So it's going to be interesting to see with Dallas coming up, Texas Motor Speedway, and then we have Vegas for the finale. If he's going to be able to string together 3 of these weekends. That's what Joe's been missing. He's got the speed, he's got the talent, he's also very smooth, and he rode very well, being that he was off the bike, obviously from a collarbone, and then he came back and rode phenomenal. But he's got to get the consistency where these other guys are every weekend, so that he can be in it for the long haul and be in it for the championship hunt towards the end of the SMX round.
Joe or RJ got a bit lucky there, dude, when he went off in that rhythm section, and he kind of slammed into the wall. Thank goodness you're all right, RJ. Here's a little look at it. He comes off that table and he doesn't quad, but then I think he just gets like maybe a little bit cross-rutted, and let's see, lands right in the pocket, and like just looks like the bike squirms. So I'm guessing, totally assuming that maybe he just kind of cross-rutted and perfectly squared up, right? So good thing you're all right, RJ. But I think that these SMX tracks really fall into his wheelhouse, how he loves to hang it out. You can ride these tracks super aggressive. You don't have to be too precise. But there's some big words, big battles between these two guys. And I feel like RJ is disrespected. And like he talked about a little bit when JT had asked him, and he doesn't feel like he's the underdog like some people have him. And dude, the guy's a regional supercross champ, that he knows what the hell he's doing. So I do think he gets a little bit disrespected sometimes. However, kind of a tough weekend for him. And this leads me to we got a great soundbite from Haiden Deegan, and I can't wait to hear what RV you had to say about this. But Aaron, throw this post-race press conference up of Deegs.
I don't know. Everything fuels me. Anything. You could say one word and that fuels me to work harder. That's just how I work. And dude, even RJ or whatever, he was like behind me in qualifying, yelling at me. I'm like, dude, don't do that. Like, that's not smart. And it obviously didn't work for him, so that clearly wasn't smart. But I get fueled by anything, any crap talk, any. If you guys want to say something to me, say it, because it's gonna make me better.
That's kind of true at this point, man. He's been able to answer everybody's call, everybody's.
He has, dude. He just told you guys hey, here's the way I'm looking at it. He just told, like, if he's saying that and I'm racing against him, RV, I'm not gonna do what he's saying don't do. He's telling you, like, don't do it because it's just gonna make it harder.
I think your strategy with Haiden is almost try to be as quiet and fly under the radar as long as possible and strike him.
Hell yes. 100. Just like why piss him off? Because then, just like he said, it's just gonna fuel that fire. So dude, just keep your mouth shut. Yeah, because I don't think you can. The only way you're going to mess, in my opinion, the only way that you can mess with a dude that is as mentally sound as him is you have to go out and beat him and battle him and just wear him down. Because no matter if you say anything, you're just going to fuel his fire like he's telling everybody, and you're going to make your job harder, right?
Yeah. I mean, he basically, like you said, try to fly under the radar. Even it's even practice, like getting behind him, and RJ was yelling at him. Like, I don't think that's the move. That's not the move for somebody like Haiden. That's only like he just told us, that's going to fuel his fire. I think it's almost having a subpar practice and a subpar heat race, or in our instance, you go through the day with a good gate pick, but then come out like, oh, having him think RJ's not in the game today, and then coming out swinging in Moto 1 and catch him off guard that way, if you can do it. I'm not saying that that's going to work, but definitely going the other route of playing into, the cockiness, the way Haiden kind of plays his part. I don't think that's the move for everybody. It's not. I mean, it works for Haiden, but I don't think it's a move. Just the little bit that I know RJ, I think he's more of the one that flies under the radar, keeps his head down, and just strikes when the iron's hot.
Right. Real quick on the Motocross of Nations, because the last time we recorded the pod, we had last week off. We talked about Haiden and not going to MXoN, and then then he makes the post. He's got to get some hardware taken out of his wrist. So listen, it's important. First and foremost, your health. You know what I mean? And I know he's getting beat up, but give him a little bit of grace. We didn't know that. A lot of people didn't know that. A hell of a job competing with hardware in your wrist all season long. Go get that thing fixed up, because what happens is, if there's an opportunity, and I've done some research, if there's an opportunity for him to race the West Coast in the 250, well, then this really puts him in a pinch by racing the Motocross of Nations. It just puts you several weeks back, and kind of like up against the button, to where you're cramming everything in. Right. It doesn't give him the proper amount of time. So although, like, for some of the fans not happy with it, I mean, dude, I think for this scenario, he's making the right decision for sure, for the longevity of it. He's going to be at the Motocross of Nations for many, many years to come, and I'm sure he wants to be there. But at the end of the day, you have to look at the big picture and do what's right for the season. Right. And he has to have this fixed. And again, if he's planning on racing the West Coast, he needs to have it done sooner than later. So, I don't know. We didn't know that when we did it. And now that he has,
I still stand by what I still stand. I agree 100%. If the whatever he's getting taken out, I think it's a wrist issue, whatever that is. If it's bothering him, and for his career longevity wise, yes, I agree. That's probably the right move. But I also feel that I also watch and see, and if this performance that he just put out at Charlotte, probably going to see another one. And we're going to, we have two more to go for SMX. If he's able to ride the way he's riding, I just feel like, and like I said, I'll stand by what I said before, is if he could go to Motocross of Nations and put on a performance like he's putting on, that we just saw at Charlotte Motor Speedway, I think that, and Team USA wins and everything goes as planned, I think that could be huge for his career, so it is a double-edged sword. It is a double-edged sword, but I will say to recap that, the goal and priority from a manufacturer standpoint and from his goals is racing here in the United States for Supercross Championship, Outdoor Championship, and SMX. So I agree there, but I just think that would be the last feather in his cap that would set this season over the top.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%. So I got a photo shoot tomorrow with Quad Lock, which I'm excited about. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, actually, I don't even think I have to ride. We're doing some other things, but this gets to our Quad Lock question of the week. Pretty good little question here, and the winner of this week's Quad Lock question of the week is Burkish 07. And I like this question. So Burkish 07, congratulations on the winner of the Quad Lock question of the week. Is asks, did the top guys do better before Grates, because now everyone has an equal start? There you go. You see it on the screen if you're watching. You want first crack, or you want?
Yeah,
you want
yeah. I've
for it.
said this in the past that I do think that Grates equal everything out behind the gate. Now you're only focused on the gate drop, a little bit of your clutch release also, but I think that it prioritizes when you have a dirt start pad behind the gate. It prioritizes practice even more. I don't know about at Charlotte, but there is races throughout the season that having gate pick 1, 2, or 3 are huge advantages. I'll use Phoenix for as an example. A lot of times there's some blue groove starting positions that you do not even want to line up on, and that's what we had in the past. Now that you have the Grates, I do think it's leveled the playing field out for all of these riders. I think that your clutch release on dirt, depending on what kind of dirt is underneath the rear tire, if it's a little more hard pack, if it's sandy, or whatever the case may be.
I agree with what everything RV is saying until his internet started messing up. I think it's taken the art away from the starts for sure. I think it definitely, to what you said, RV, it equalizes everyone. I would like to see it go back to dirt, because I think it, there's a skill in there with starting and manipulating the clutch and the gas, and it's just like, I think there's an art to starting, and I think it would be cool if they went back and did it for a while, and just to see how it played out. Maybe if it was just for a season, or maybe if it just for half the season. I'm always open for changing. You look at other sports, if things aren't right, whether it's safety or to make the sport better, they're willing to change. And I feel like it would be fun. And it would be interesting to see if we went back to just dirt starts and see if there was a separator. I think for sure that, good guys are always going to figure out ways to make it happen, but I definitely think it would be less equal 120%. I mean,
Yep.
there's an art to it, right? You packed your gate a different way than I did. And then again, manipulating the clutch and, making sure you get the drive, not having to double clutch it. Like, it just, I don't know.
I agree. And it puts more emphasis on practice, making sure that when there's only a few good gates, that you need to be up in the top 3 and after, for gate pick positions. So it just adds a couple more elements to it than the great starts.
Thank you very, very much, Burkish 07. Congratulations again. You know what to do. Our co-host, or our co-producer, JH, is he's got boots on the ground. He's out in the trenches today doing some work for some other things we got going on. So he will get you lined up. Normally he's already on the ball with this, but it'll probably be delayed, but we'll get you dialed in. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Thanks, Quad Lock, for hooking us up. Yep. I'm really excited about this next question for the Dunlop debate, RV, because it seemed like it was a hot topic, and it always seems like it's a hot topic towards the end of the regular season, and then now with the SMX second year of the SMX playoffs. Christopher Parrish, how do you guys feel about how many races there are in a season? Is it too many? Love y'all.
Yep. And we know that we saw, what was it, Pierre and Pitt Buyer, right, posted some comments about the amount of races that we have here in the US. Okay. I've always said that to keep the longevity in these guys' careers, I've obviously have a very, very short career, but very successful career. But I think that having a 17 round Supercross season plus an 11 outdoors now plus 3 SMX, I've always said that outdoors needs to be around 8 to 9 rounds. That's just my opinion. I like 17 Supercrosses. It's just because of the mental capacity you have to race that many races in basically 18 weekends. That right there is like your long, gnarly stint of like, can you be in it for 17 weekends in a row, essentially? So I think we need that. But then we also have the outdoors, right? And which I love the outdoors. I love pro motocross, and I don't think it can go anywhere but I do think that, we're essentially, we have more races than we ever had.
Right.
So I do think that we need to sit down and reevaluate. And number one, I think listening to, having about the 5, 6, 8 top 10 factory riders in a room and saying, how many races would you ultimately like to do? It'd be interesting to see from their perspective off the record, what would they like to see? Because I bet they're all pretty damn close on what they would like to see.
On total number
races. Yes, I bet you they're pretty close. I mean, what do you think, Carson?
Well, I'm gonna have Aaron roll this soundbite from Eli and Jett and Chase, where they were asked about the races and how many that we're doing. So
either way, it's a long season, but maybe there's not much difference between 29 and whatever 32 races. So what's nice though is we get that paycheck at the end.
I think the 31 rounds is kind of stupid. It's nice obviously when you have an injury you can kind of come back, but I think if you look at any other top sport, they're not doing this many races. I think the only reason we all come back is obviously that paycheck at the end of the day for the bonus. So I think it wasn't for that, a lot of guys wouldn't show up. But it's I hope in the future we have less, because I think it makes it more rare. You don't see no F1 or MotoGP doing 36 rounds. So I think hopefully in the future we can just have less, so it makes it more of a rare thing and more on a special occasion,
Racing 31 races in a year is way too much. They took one pro motocross away just to add 3 more SMX, just to kind of I don't know. I mean, they put a paycheck at the end of it, but they don't have to go through the grueling training days. We have a whole off season, then during the week we have to ride to just be good on the weekend. So it's a lot, and you don't really. I mean, I think there was 4 guys that raced every race this year, which is stupid for how many guys show up every weekend. So hopefully MX Sports and Feld sees that and they change something. It's a little bit dumb.
Well, there you go. I mean,
so I'm glad you asked me this, RV. I don't know that I've ever, you and I have talked about this over cocktails and all that fun stuff, but I don't think that I've ever talked about it with you on the pod. But I think the ideal number, to what you asked me before I comment on these dudes, I think the ideal number of races is somewhere between 25 and 24 to 27 is what I feel would be right. I think we have to have a playoff. I think the playoff is enticing to network for sure. I think it's enticing to a lot of people. I mean, there's in all major sports that have playoffs, it's so fun to watch. I mean, this is when the best of the best compete at the highest level. And
yes.
And it's undeniable how exciting and exhilarating playoff type games races are. And so I think you have to have that. I think it wasn't sticking up for Feld and MX Sports. I don't know that they wanted to do 31 rounds, but I think to get this, where the situation that they were in, I don't think they could let any of the other regular season races go, but they had to do this. So for at the given time, this is the measures that they had to take. I think that, again, somewhere between 24 and 27 events that's including the playoffs, I think would be a magic number. Maybe you do something like MotoGP where, you race 12, 13 races, then, you have a month off and then another 12 or 13 races, and I'm just completely spitballing here. But that's what I think. I think they should do a few more supercrosses, take away a little bit of the pro motocross. I know that's not going to be a popular opinion for some people, but times change. And listen, dude, I love pro motocross. That you love it. I mean, it was easier for me. I had a lot of success there, but I just feel like the world we live in today, the shorter races in metropolitan areas is what is helpful for the growth of this sport. So that's what I think. Now, I think going to what these guys said, I loved what Eli said as far as is it a lot? Is there a big difference between, what did he say, 29 and 31 or something like that? He's like, no, but he loves a paycheck.
Yep.
What I have I wouldn't even say the problem with, but I'm like, okay, if you don't want to race 31 races, then don't go then race motocross and supercross, and then don't go race any other races the rest of the year. But of course, as we know, money talks, right? And they get a crap load of show up money to go to these races, the off-season races. So
back to 36 races that NASCAR has. The NASCAR guys, MotoGP, all of our other racing sources that we have, they're just not on the bikes nearly what we are. And during the week is the killer part. The weekend's one day. That's like the easy time. So the testing, the training, the riding, and it's basically year round. That's where we have. So I think reverse engineering and figuring out if we can give these guys a clear month and a half to 2 months off the motorcycle. I think that right there, if we can fit that in, if we can give these guys 2 months off and then figure out a structure of how many races to do, if we can inside of the 10-month period, yep. I think the guys would be happy having 2 months completely off and then having a month to get ready. So essentially it's 3 months off of the motorcycle. I think they need some real decompression time for the bodies to heal, for the mental side of it, and just to not have to ride your motorcycle, because as soon as we're done with SMX, we get our top 3 guys. We go to Motocross of Nations, which is a very prestigious race. And then literally as they come back across the pond this year, they will have probably only a month and a half ish, 2 months before they're back on the gate at Anaheim. So it's just a very condensed, rushed, high pressure situation. And I think if we can give these guys some time off to mentally decompress, their careers will go longer. And I know we have a lot of guys out there right now that are pushing 30 and above 30. But that hasn't happened in quite a few years. I mean, myself, I was retired at 27. Ricky, same with you. Dunge was just retired at 27. So the trend is changing a little bit, but we just heard from the top 3 of our industry, the top guys, saying that it's too much.
Yep. There you go. Before we get into the playoffs, second round of the playoffs, good lineup for the Motorsports and NBC this week. As you guys know, it's always Thursday. Listen to SMX Insiders with Weege and JT. Not sure who they're going to have for the big interview, but they do a great job. Again, that's Thursday. But Saturday is 9:30 Eastern on Peacock. That'll start race day live. So make sure you tune into that. It's going to be a great racetrack. It's going to be hot too. So practice and qualifying there. You can check that on Peacock. Then 2:30 p.m. Eastern on USA is NASCAR Xfinity from Watkins Glen. That's a great race course, like the super speedways of road courses. SMX Playoff number 2 special pre-race at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. That's live on Peacock, so make sure you check us out. And then 6 p.m. Eastern, SMX Playoffs encore presentation from Texas at USA. Cup Series is 2:30 Eastern Sunday on USA, and in the NTT IndyCar Series 3 p.m. Eastern on NBC. So a lot of motorsports action coming at you. You won't want to miss it. That's for sure. It's going to be very exciting. Again, this weekend, looking forward to SMX Round 2 RV. It's going to be hot. We're going to a new venue, which is always a lot of fun. What are your expectations for the 450? What are you going to be looking for, and from who and what?
Well, I think number one, right off the top, I want to see what pops into my head is it's a new venue, like you said, so it's new dirt, right? So what kind of dirt or what are you going to be dealing with? Is it going to be old Dallas Stadium dirt that's a lot of clay, hard pack, or is this going to have a more sandy base like we saw at Charlotte? So I think that for me going in is like what are the conditions these riders are going to have to adapt to? What tire selection, suspension, because if it's a hard pack track, they're going to be making some different setting changes or picking different settings and tires for those conditions. But I'll be looking for here. We're looking at a track map here. Kind of looks like a Daytona, right? Like right in the middle of the straightaway.
Yeah, looks very similar to Daytona. Yeah, 100%. I did Mike Mewey on our press conference last week was asked about what the dirt's going to be like, and he chimed in and said that it's not gonna be the same dirt, I don't believe, from Arlington. So it'll be newer dirt. I expect that it's probably going to be some kind of clay. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I think that this track is going to be a bit tougher. I don't think that the speeds are going to be quite as fast like what we saw last week. So I think like overheating for the riders might be not necessarily an issue, but a challenge. So fitness is definitely, it always comes into play, but I think the temperature is supposed to be like 95 or something like that on race day. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And yeah, anytime you go to a new venue, it's a lot of fun. What about for the 250? What are you looking for the 250?
Well, I'm going to be looking for Levi to have a rebound. I think other than JuJu having putting on another stellar performance.
You're bogging again. So yeah, I'm with you. I think who steps it up, like who checks out, who's able to challenge Deegan. I think Kitchen's going to do well. I really do. He rode well. The second moto, I think he'd be able to take that momentum and push it forward. And also, I'm not laying down on RJ. He'll always have a great opportunity if he can just get a good start and run up. I think he can contend somewhat. So it'll be fun to see how he does. Hopefully, JuJu will be able to repeat that. We'll repeat that performance that he had from last week. But it's going to be exciting. Make sure you guys check it. You saw the promo, the NBC Sports promo. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We thank you, all of you guys, for tuning in to Title 24 and listening. Whether you're listening or watching, we appreciate all of our fans, our sponsors, United Motorsports, Quadlock Case, Boxo, and Dunlop. Thanks for your patience as well. Both RV and I are experiencing some extreme difficulties, internet difficulties, and I get the fun task of going back on customer support and just getting after these folks and wondering why service technician wasn't here. So appreciate everyone. If you want, make sure we're on Motorsports on NBC's YouTube page. We are always on Peacock also, and then of course, as far as the podcast version, we're on all platforms of the podcast version if you can only have the availability to watch or listen to us. So thank you very much. RV, we're going to be in a better spot next week as far as...
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Sorry, guys.
Oh, dude, all good. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.